Quant's on the cusp of a multi-year breakout. I made my first video on Quant 3 years ago. This was during a time where my life was in a very different state. The Quant price was at $104. Made a video a year ago about Quant saying is 131 Quant all you need to go ahead and get rich. And then now in today's day and age, boom, here we are in yet again another critical state for Quant. I want to talk about it. I want to talk about my personal story and more in this video. Someone who's been in crypto for a heck of a long time, And I know a lot of you are revisiting crypto again. Maybe you're revisiting your Quant positions. Who knows? Does it really matter? Not really. So let's get into it. I want to talk about my first video on Quant. This is July 18th, 2022. This was shortly before my birthday. So my birthday is coming up. Congrats to me, right? Getting older, becoming a boomer. But the main thing that this video signifies is kind of a different state of crypto, but also kind of the same thing. In the sense that, this was a very different time in my life. This was a camping trip that I ended up getting a concussion in. Very crazy time in my life. Ended up moving out for the first time ever. And yet, if we look at the macro state of crypto during that time, it was a lot of the same thing. The crypto markets had begun to trend down. I, of course, was still very bullish on the Quant crypto coin, which I still own. This has been one of those crypto coins that I accumulated during 2021, so I don't have the biggest bag in the world because I had less money at the time. But I have still held. I mean, I haven't really done anything with my Quant. I've just been holding it and holding it and holding it because this is one of those cryptos that the TLDR is they're trying to connect blockchains. They want to do interoperability. And in my opinion, it's an invaluable tech, absolutely invaluable. These days, there are a lot of chains that are trying to do the exact same thing. The good thing for Quant, though, as a coin at least, is that they have the stability. They've had the stability for a long time. They've had the players. They partnered with Oracle this year, which I thought was pretty cool. They're one of their long-standing partners. Oracle announced today the launch of their Oracle blockchain platform digital assets edition. I thought it was cool that they went ahead and, I mean, this is a big play here. Oracle started using Quant. It's been a while since Quant has been talking about the whole interoperable thing, but finally, it's actually becoming a thing. People are actually using it. That's a problem with a lot of these crypto coins, the actual usage of them. When I'm looking at the price of Quant, I'm not really thinking about the usage of the crypto coin. I'm more so thinking of the long-term thesis, the long-term narrative, why people would care about this thing, why people would buy into it. There are a lot of crypto coins in today's day and age that people use a lot, but don't really get the price action. I will give you one example. Arbitrum has a lot of the stable volume in the world right now, and yet the price of this coin just is not cooking. Even despite the crazy run that we've had in crypto, this coin is pretty low. It's down 73% since it launched, despite the fact that back in May 2023, we were in a deep bear market. So kind of shows you where these newer coins have kind of gone over time. It doesn't really matter if a lot of people are using your coin because they could be using it in and out. Doesn't mean they're going to be holding it. Quant is a bit of a different story. It's been one of those coins that people just kind of buy and hold. It hasn't had a crazy amount of volume, if I'm completely honest with you. But the stability has driven it forward, which is a good thing. Even despite the fact, these two videos, I don't think I've ever covered Quant at as high of a price as it is today. Even despite the fact that it's only up about, 30% since 2022. Still enough to go ahead and justify, because if we had a big breakout here for a lot of these US cryptos, which we're currently kind of experiencing, but we're in a bit of a resistance limbo, then Quant's going to be a huge beneficiary. I have no doubt that over the next 2, 3, 4 years, Quant's going to be at $500 plus. I am a big believer that crypto is probably the final frontier for a lot of us. There has been that thought for the longest time that the standard of living is getting more difficult to keep the way it currently is. Inflation is going absolutely crazy. The standard of living just really isn't keeping up. People are struggling more than ever. And crypto's been that place that you can park your money. You can park your money into these long-term positions, and they kind of just do better than the rest of the market. And that's been how I have been thinking about my Quant. I'm not like some giga quant bull. I'm very bullish on quant, but I also, believe in the whole, if you have only so much supply, you have a very fixed amount of supply, you've been around for a long time, you're probably going to have a very good run in this bull cycle. We've already seen it with some of the coins, some of these coins not touching all-time highs yet, having a very similar story to quant, HBAR, for example. XRP has been definitely an outlier. XRP has been absolutely killing it, but a lot of these ISO coins, a lot of these institution coins, these guys are sleeping giants. And once DC recognizes that, I saw from Eamon, he's the AVAX CEO. He talked about this. He talked about this at the AVAX summit that I was in person, that pretty much DC is waiting to get past the curve. And past the curve, I mean Bitcoin. They're trying to get past Bitcoin. Now they're finally getting to Ethereum. That's where we're seeing that big Ethereum run that we're seeing at the moment. I think a lot of this is propped up for sure. I do see Ethereum all-time highs in the books. I don't know if it's going to happen today, tomorrow, in the next week. I don't really care. And that's the story with quant. We're at a clear resistance. I mean, this is as clear of day. If you go on the weekly is where I look at the long-term positions. I mean, these are positions that we're going to hold for years. We're going to be looking at the weekly. I don't know why YouTubers like to do this thing where they're looking at hourlies and 4-hourlies for their long-term positions. It doesn't really make any sense. I don't do TA, but I kind of use common sense. If we look at the long-term TA or whatever, we see the resistance is at about $140 to about $160. If you blast past that, then we are in limbo mode until 226, and then we see all-time highs, pretty much, if we can actually blast past it. So the way I see it in terms of our quant positions, we want to see that breakout. I mean, we really want to see this breakout. We are really close to this breakout. We're hitting a resistance right now. So I would wait, if I was doing futures, which I don't do often, but I do every now and then, I would wait until this breakout happens. You have to see the breakout. We have to see a clean breakout from these levels, and then we can explore. Or short. But the way that the markets are moving, shorting doesn't really make a lot of sense. We want to be longing into this. We want to be longing into the momentum, or we want to be DCAing into this position. These are the couple of things that I would say make sense from a personal perspective for something like quant. Would I continue to buy quant? I guess that's a personal question. The way I see it, I have other positions that I want to acquire. I mean, I already have my quant position from a couple of years ago. I'm already up on my quant position. I'm happy with how I've gone ahead and played my quant position. I'm still stacking stuff like HBAR, which I have just inherently higher conviction. And it's not to say that this crypto is worse. It's just to say that I'm much more focused on these other cryptocurrencies for my own personal reasons, but still holding very much my quant. I think quant will be one of the big winners in terms of the whole chain abstraction. I know that there's a chain literally called Abstract. Hasn't launched though. Doesn't have the chart that quant has at the moment. And this is a big, big win for quant. The fact that it's survived this long is a huge deal for quant. And I think for me, I want to see this kind of stuff. I want to see these cryptos have their big boom in whatever year they had it. And this was in 2021. And I want to see it have that catastrophic correction, that correction that was so bad that all these buyers were just in deep, they were in agony. Agony is the best way to put it. And then we have the bounce and we have stability. We have this range for years. This is the best thing you could want for a long-term position, because this means that the market is getting hungrier and hungry and hungry, and the sellers and the buyers, everybody's exhausted. They don't know where this thing's going to go. But when it chooses a direction, oh, it feels good to be holding this coin. And that's kind of where we're at. So we'll see if we get this breakout. If we get this breakout, this will be absolutely enormous for everybody holding quant, including myself. And that's quant for today. Subscribe if you like more videos. Stay classy, and that's all.